Coming up on National Focus, a new water tank commissioned for the city of Roseau.
Dominicans pay homage to Venezuelan victims who lost their lives in tragic oil refinery accident last Saturday.
And Dominica's police chief says marijuana cultivation is on a decline in Dominica. Hello, I'm Fontaine. Welcome to National Focus.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thanks for joining us.
Topping the headlines, residents of Roseau now have a reliable source of water as a new storage tank was commissioned in Bruce. Dominicans join in solidarity with its Venezuelan friends following a tragic incident at an oil refinery in Venezuela.
And Hurricane David struck Dominica 33 years ago today. We'll take a look back at that tragic day. All these stories and more when National Focus returns.
Our lead story this news time, Dominicans joined Venezuelan nationals on the island on Wednesday in prayer following Saturday's tragic accident at the Amway oil refinery in Venezuela, which left several Venezuelans dead. A memorial service was held at the PDV Caribe office in Jimmet as a sign of solidarity.
Saddened by what happened, and we wanted to show our support and solidarity at this time. We will continue to pray for the families of our brothers and sisters and let them know that we are here during this time, during this most difficult time.
The service was officiated by Roman Catholic priest Monsignor Eustace Thomas. He prayed for the Venezuelans who lost their lives in last Saturday's tragedy.
If they never thought of the Lord and never repented, well, they can't enter heaven. But even if they may have sinned and repented, God will grant them eternal rest. And we're praying for them. They in turn will grant us the same. They will grant us the power of the intercession. They'll form a unit with us.
Monsignor Thomas said, in every disaster, no matter how painful, there is always a message from the Lord to be ready. Venezuelan ambassador to Dominica, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva, also addressed Wednesday's memorial service.
She presented a condolence message from President Hugo Chavez and expressed gratitude to Dominica and Dominica's Prime Minister for the country's continued friendship with Venezuela in good and bad times.
I would like to recognize that the message of the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt very early this Saturday. I sent immediately to the President Chavez, and the President Chavez said, Roosevelt Skerritt is our brother, in the bad and in the happy moment.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt said Wednesday's memorial service was a fitting sign of solidarity shown by Dominicans to the people of Venezuela in their time of grief.
Beyond the technical cooperation which exists between Venezuela and ourselves, there is a strong bond of friendship, genuine friendship and brotherhood which exists not only between myself and President Chavez, but between the Venezuelan people and Dominica. And we are very, very saddened by what happened. And we're here this morning to extend and to offer our prayers for the deceased, but also for those who have been affected in terms of injuries. And also to send a very clear message to the families and the government and people of Venezuela that Dominica stands in total solidarity with them.
Wreaths were laid as a sign of solidarity for those who lost their lives in the Venezuelan oil refinery tragedy.
Residents within the city of Roseau now have an improved and reliable water supply system. On Tuesday, the government of Dominica officially commissioned the $4.5 million storage tank in Mont Bruce. The 500,000-gallon tri-chamber tank, which took a year to complete, will not only provide water for the residents of the city, but will also serve the Winter Park Sports Stadium and supply bulk water to visiting cruise ships. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who was the featured speaker at the ceremony, noted that this project is tangible evidence of government sensitivity to the country's needs. The Prime Minister said that government recognizes the importance of improving the quality and availability of potable water and has spent a significant amount of money to upgrade water systems across the country. He listed a few of those projects.
I dare say that this government has spent a tremendous sums of money by way of grants and also the approval of loans on behalf of DOASCO to improve the water supply in Dominica. We have gone to places which previous governments felt it made no sense to go because there were few homes and the level of investment required was not making any economic sense. This government and the Dominican Labour Party believes in investment in people, in investment in social programs, and we see water and the provision of potable supply of water as a social good. And this is why even in the Roseau South constituency, we have spent in excess of $13 or so million in recent times to improve the water supply in this park. As we speak, there are several other water improvement projects taking place across the length and breadth of Dominica, from Pennville to Benz to Grandfort and to many other parts, and of course the entire west coast from Capuchin down to Salisbury. And of course we improve and we replace the pipes from, I believe, St. Joseph to Canefield.
Meanwhile, Minister for Water Resource Management, Honorable Reginald Austrie, boasted that Dominica has achieved close to 95% of the UN's Millennium Development Goals for water. The aim is to reduce by half the number of people without access to safe drinking water by the year 2015. Minister Austrie said, however, that with potable water available to most Dominicans on island, the issue now is of water conservation. Honorable Austrie quoted Sandra Postel, who is a leading authority on international water issues.
And I quote, "For many of us, water simply flows from a faucet, and we think little about it beyond the point of contact. We have lost a sense of respect for our rivers and our lakes, for the complex workings of wetlands, and for the intricate web of life that water supports," close quotes. Here in Dominica, it can be said that we are children of a culture born in a water-rich environment. It would seem that we have never really learned how important water is to us. We understand it, but we do not respect it. There was a time when we used to think that energy and water were critical development issues, and that would be for the century. But now, more than anything else, we know that water is the most critical resource affecting the world today. I say all this to put forward a challenge to you that everyone must play their part in conserving our water resources. It is never easy for government to find funding to invest in this infrastructure development, but all these efforts will be futile if in the near future we do not have adequate supplies of water to ensure sustainability of these investments. The last word of our national anthem calls on all Dominicans to take action, all for each and each for all, and help in preserving our water catchment areas and ensure that our water resources are protected for the benefit of the future generation.
Magnus Williams spoke in his capacity as DOASCO's chief engineer. He affirmed that the objective of the storage tank is to improve the reliability of the water system. Williams also explained the specifics of the tank.
The storage tank comprises of 3 chambers, which may operate as independent tanks or collectively as a single tank. The largest chamber has a capacity of 258,000 gallons and will provide storage for Roseau and environs. Another chamber has a capacity of 178,000 gallons and can be dedicated for service to the Roseau cruise ship berth once a ship is expected in port. The smallest chamber has a capacity of 87,000 gallons and can be reserved for exclusive use by the stadium during large sporting and other activities. When no cruise ships are expected in port and there are no planned activities at the stadium, the entire storage capacity may be used to serve Roseau and environs. The storage tank measures 89 feet in length by 69 feet in width and is 17 feet 6 inches tall.
Chairman of DOWASCO, Larry Badwell, also addressed the ceremony and listed a few of the ways that the now largest built storage tank will benefit the island. Badwell noted firstly that there will be fewer energy costs since the company will not be forced to pump water from Antrim to provide for Monbruce and Roseau residents. According to the chairman, there will be fewer interruptions in water service for those communities since the tank provides an additional source of water to draw from. Badwell made special note of government's pivotal role in the entire process.
We are thankful to have the unwavering support of the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica through our Minister of Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, Honorable Reginald Austrie, and his ministry, the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, through whose ministry approval for the contracting of loans must be given and co-signed. So the DOWASCO can't walk into a bank and say, give us X number of dollars. The government of Dominica is firmly behind us when we borrow monies, either locally or from the CDB, and we appreciate that very much. We couldn't do it without them. The government has also contributed the lands at this historic site where the tank is now erected. So the land right out there at Monbruce where the tank is currently placed belongs to the government of Dominica, and the government has graciously made it available to DOWASCO in the national interest, making sure that we have this tank and we can receive the benefits that we'll receive.
The project was executed by contractor ACE Engineering, while the design was conceptualized by Consulting Engineers Partnership. The environmental impact study was carried out by Eclipse Incorporated. And Tarnia, first, let me say that 100% of Dominica's population is well on the way to having access to potable water. And this is in keeping with the UN's Millennium Development Goals that by 2015, everyone should have access to potable water. And at the rate that our government is going, I mean, we'll be well on the way before 2015.
That's right, Pearl. And we have to recall as well that we have a number of projects that has been implemented across the country. Most recently, we had the $25 million West Coast Road Water Project. Also, come March 2013, residents of Benz, Hampstead, and Asdeme, they're expected to benefit from a brand new water system there. Right. And we recall as well the Daly's Water Supply Project. And recently, we had the commissioning of the Pitt-Savan Water Supply. And Pearl, you're from Pitt-Savan, so you'll well appreciate, you know, how elated the residents of that community were to finally have portable water in their homes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember growing up, I'd go to Pitt-Savan to visit on a regular basis, and I remember my aunts having to collect water to put into the toilet to have it flushed. And I mean, that's no way for somebody to live. So now, when I communicate with them, or even when I go up there, I'm really proud that they have a water system that works. And what that tells me is that government is aware of the needs of the people and they are working tirelessly to address those needs.
Definitely. And I think before we end this little discussion here, we should mention as well that they're not only providing water, potable water, but quality potable water to Dominicans. And back at the ceremony, we saw yesterday that they spoke of having been able to provide access to the cruise ships coming into Dominica. So it's not just a matter of Dominicans benefiting from this high quality water, but visiting cruise ships as well can benefit from good quality water.
And let me just say something. I know that my aunt probably or my family in Pidit 7 weren't the only people that experience having to do that. And I'm sure that there are still people in Dominica who do experience that. But rest assured that government knows that water is a vital commodity for life, and they're doing the best that they can. And I think that way before 2015, everyone should have access to potable water.
Great news, great news. In other news, the impact on drug use on the fabric of the Dominican society continues to be a major concern for the state and the community at large.
Dominica's Attorney General, Honorable Levi Peter, in addressing a crime and violence forum in Point Michelle earlier this week, confirmed that the consequences of the use of illicit substances is very evident and should not be ignored.
You walk around the streets of Roseau, and you see the number of people who are, if you, for want of a better term, certainly they're not in their best mental state. And it is a fact that many of those people, whether you say that it's marijuana or crack or whatever, but illicit substances have played a significant part in the condition that they now find themselves in. So just from that perspective alone, one can see the damage.
The Attorney General laments that the issue of drugs is a damaging one affecting people in all spheres of society.
He says drug use has a negative impact on individuals' ability to contribute meaningfully to nation building.
Within our society as well, there are many who have not reached that stage, but their ability to function properly has been significantly inhibited. And in every village or town you go, I'm sure all of us can identify people who perhaps at one time they were vibrant, contributing members of the society, of the community, working on other things, and they've moved from that phase to a phase in which they exist, but they do not really play a major contributing role that one would expect. So I think the issue of drugs is clearly a damaging one.
Government continues to put measures in place to curb drug use and abuse on the island.
And police here have confirmed that marijuana cultivation in Dominica has been on a significant decline as a result of aggressive efforts by the police to reduce the amount of marijuana circulating in the country. Dominica's Chief of Police, Daniel Carbon, is reporting that the police have had great success in its marijuana eradication efforts.
The top cop confirms that it is almost impossible for drug dealers to find marijuana in large quantities to supply to other countries.
Over the years, and it's a fact, over the years, the police force have been dealing with marijuana eradication very effectively. That has been so much so that we know that the drug dealers cannot get the adequate supply of marijuana growing on island, that they resort to other countries in the Caribbean for their supply.
Meantime, while the police chief is encouraged by the success made in the marijuana eradication efforts on the island, he continues to advocate for more drug education programs.
Police Chief Carbon is suggesting the reintroduction of the drug abuse and resistance education program in schools.
I recall we once had the DARE program. Officers used to go to the schools and lecture on illegal drugs and how to get away from it, not abuse it, the uses of drugs. And that is a program under my leadership I will try my best to reinvent.
The DARE program has had far-reaching positive implications. GIS News can report that there have been instances in the past where DARE students have educated peers, siblings, parents, and community persons about the dangers of the use and abuse of drugs. August 29, 1979 is a date that is etched in the minds of many Dominicans. It was the dreaded day 33 years ago when Hurricane David struck the island. Before 1979, the island had only twice been previously struck by a severe hurricane. In a hurricane in 1806, 131 people died when the Roseau River shifted its course and flooded the capital.
And on September 10, 1834, 200 lives were lost as a result of what was to be known as the Great Hurricane. But going back to 33 years ago, today Hurricane David, which was a Category 5 hurricane, was considered to have been one of the deadliest of the latter half of the 20th century.
GIS News understands that days before, forecasters predicted the hurricane would spare Dominica and hit Barbados instead. But hours before moving closer to the islands, the hurricane shifted and headed for Dominica. Although it was clear Hurricane David was coming, residents did not appear to take the situation seriously.
Hence, the island was totally unprepared as there was little local radio warning and no systems in place for disaster preparedness. Packing winds of 150 miles per hour, the hurricane pounded Dominica for 6 hours from 9 a.m. 37 people were killed and an estimated 5,000 were injured. 3/4 of the population of 75,000 were left homeless. Many people slept in the open or huddled in homes of fortunate friends and neighbors for weeks or months to come.
Of course, the economy was totally destroyed. Roads and bridges were blocked or swept away. Communications to the outside world was maintained only through Fred White's battery-operated ham radio until links were restored. Dominica's plight soon got swift attention from the Caribbean and the wider world. Food, tents, water, and other supplies began arriving from the United States, Britain, and Canada. Caribbean countries such as Barbados, Antigua, and St. Lucia allowed temporary residence for scores of Dominicans who fled the island or who sent their children away until conditions improved.
And by November of that year, Prime Minister O.J. Serafin estimated that the pledges of assistance were at over US $37 million in assistance, and assistance began pouring in from the IMF, the International Red Cross, the Non-Aligned Movement, the Organization of American States, and Caribbean Community States, among others. For months following Hurricane David, the island echoed with the sounds of chainsaws, hammering, and electric generators as the people attempted to rehabilitate themselves.
And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en Creole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt a complémenté compagnie de Wasco pour manier yuka agi bâti plusieurs projets de l'eau tout en pays là. Honorable Skerritt fait parole pendant la cérémonie pour te ouvrir facilité de l'eau Monbros Madi. Premier ministre a dit ça c'est l'autre commitment gouvernement pour mener de l'eau potable bas dominicain tout en pays là. Honorable Skerritt fait parole que le gouvernement déjà dépensé en l'eau l'argent bas de Wasco avancer système de l'eau en Dominique. Ça c'est pas grand. L'argent n'est pas payé et puis ça fait l'eau. Honorable Skerritt fait parole que le gouvernement Labour tient l'argent en développement monde. Premier ministre a dit que le gouvernement a fait tout investissement pendant le temps de globalisation qui a existé. Il y a l'autre bagaille, Honorable Skerritt fait parole que ces affaires où le gouvernement Dominique pas que supporte la compagnie d'Owasco fait Dominicain payer plus pour de l'eau. Et dit en l'année passée, compagnie la hausse pour de l'eau, comme ça, il pas juste appuyer l'année pour y hausser encore. Finalement, Honorable Skerritt dit que les gens qui ont créé à ce gouvernement-là pour tirer VAT, ce n'est pas un bagaille qui est en l'intérêt en pays là. En autre nouvelle, les gens qui ont resté en Wanville-Roseau, ni un système de l'eau neuf à présent. Cérémonie pour officiellement ouvrir facilité salam pour place en l'occasion Monbros ou la tank la bâti. Plusieurs officiers gouvernement en parmi président His Excellency Dr. Nicholas Liverpool et Madame Liverpool, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, ministre management de l'eau Honorable Reginald Austrin, membre parlement pour Monbros Honorable Ambrose George, en parmi d'autres ministres attendent cérémonie là. En parole est délivré membre parlement pour Monbros Honorable Ambrose George, dit qu'il facilite là qui ont l'eau service dans différentes communautés.
Tant que ça que baglo ada Wozo une stadium là et que baglo bateau touriste là vini Habano et que baglo pour mon Lower Kingshill, Charlottesville avec Wozo même avec c'est un projet qui est bien important. C'est un projet qui facilite Bamoun glow net tout le temps. Juste nous ni mauvais temps le glow en haut qu'a sali parce que 500 000 gallons glow ça c'est qui continue bah moun là à ces places glow avec projet ça qui coûtait 4,5 millions de dollars. C'est un gros projet, c'est un projet qui est bien important avec mon centre qui Mam Hall, Kingshill, avec Monbros, en particulier Mon Hall, Lower Kingshill, Mon Hall, Pierce, Mon Hall, Nine Houses, avec Upper Kingshill, qui est content à projet ça.
Honorable Reginald Ostry, c'est ministre management glow.
Le projet ça là, c'est un grand projet pour le pays là, mais pour Wozo, définitivement. Parce que ça nous a essayé de faire, c'est pour nous faire plus glow dans Wozo et pour nous ça aider mon Hod, Monbros et mon Kingshill qui avant qui étaient dans le problème pour taper glow parce que tank était tout petit. Mais après ça nous avons gardé un plus gros tank, nous avons quoi qui problème glow en Kingshill, Wozo, et Monbros qui moins qui était avant.
En notre nouvelle, State College Dominica chain exercise orientation pour plus que 600 étudiants neufs qui pourront entrer collège qui est ouvert en septembre. C'est le ministre de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, qui a adressé ces étudiants-là en cérémonie orientation là, fait parole que ces étudiants-là reçoivent bon moral au officier collège là.
Nous avons un programme en State College là, nous avons mener ces jeunes gens là ensemble et nous avons dit vraiment ça qui l'envie en collège ça là que vraiment y et aussi nous avons différents monde qui ka venir parler ba yo et quand dans State College nous avons quoi qui ces parents là aussi yo en doit connaître ça enfants yo ka faire et ça nous ka fait avec les enfants yo là yo entrer en collège. So jeudi nous avons un spécial jour là tous parents ces enfants ces élèves neufs là nous que State College qui joignent et puis et une discussion avec ces parents ça là.
Et puis finalement division welfare qui continue courir à ce public là pour assister à identifier les enfants qui moun ka abusé ça ou child abuse en Dominique. Parole cela sorti au chef département cela M. Martin Anthony pendant qu'il était adressé au forum ça c'est un grand meeting crime et puis violence en la pointe lundi semaine cela. Anthony fait parole qui a la besoin de plus collaboration entre ces communautés là et puis département welfare adressé situation cela qui bien mauvais. Département welfare en l'année qui passée quand assiste des enfants pays là qui vulnérables en info cela. Et des départements welfare qui continuent de travailler à assister les enfants qui abusent en Dominique. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en Creole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, Luce. Au revoir.
Up next is the tip of the day.
Let your spirit take to flight. Let your heart run free and wild. Find your soul in Dominica. The nature isle.
In today's tip, we'll discuss how to think positively. Surround yourself with positive, motivating people. They say that success is built on the foundation of surrounding yourself with successful and like-minded individuals in business. Well, the same process can be applied in positive thinking motivation.
Positive energy is contagious, and you will want to keep your environment and entourage filled with positive people. Incorporating gratitude in your life greatly improves you, becoming more happy and content in your life. Realizing first that you must be thankful for what you have, and to be happy with what you have will put you in a position to already achieving happiness.
If you're always complaining about things you don't have, then you will never be happy. Be grateful and be blessed. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments.
Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.dov.ddm You can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Or you could visit our GIS Dominica page on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching.